first time me doing the YouTube version, so let me make sure. All right. Okay.
Okay. So we are 5. Well, my watch is off.
15.
5:15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're called to order. Let's go with approval of minutes first of all. I didn't see anything that bugged me about it, so I'll let you guys talk.
I'll move to accept them as submitted.
I mean, I'm going to second it since y'all said they look good. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to read them, but look good to me.
Okay. All approved, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved.
I do have some correspondence. I didn't forget it.
Okay. So we have no guests, we don't have to do that. We'll jump to this memorandum of understanding. This is Ford and Bravo Rodeo.
Did you want the correspondence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, let's go ahead.
So we have just 2 thank you cards. One from the family of Elaine Gravely, and then one from Caitlin Noyes. So, to the paper.
Caitlin Noyes, she's so sweet. Wonder who her parents are. They did a great job raising her.
I got to interview her for the Ag
Oh, fun.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh. I'll just read it out loud so that it's in the minutes. The thank you from the Graveleys is from the family, and they said thank you for letting us use the funeral for the thank you for letting us use the 4-H building for the funeral reception. It meant the world to all of us. That's sweet. And Caitlin said thank you for your continued support of 4-H and sponsoring the ribbons and rosettes for the fair each year. Your support is greatly appreciated. Oh, we appreciate the support. I love thank you cards. I'm a card person.
Yeah, no, it's
I
nice.
keep
They're
all
nice.
those things. Yeah.
You are a
They're-
card
it's so fun to
person.
get them, right?
Yeah. I'm always very slow to get mine written, but I do get them.
Me too, but you do, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move to open class. Is there anything you want to update us on?
Yes. So I would like to just go over a quick recap of the fair. It went really well. I think it went so smooth in regards to our day. You know, we didn't really have anything big issues. We kind of finagled some things this year. We had new displays. We had interactive displays, and I think those were really well received by the just general audience, so that was exciting. I will also say that we are thinking about maybe changing up again next year, just on some feedback in regards to like we don't have enough wall space for pictures, things are kind of tight, so we might reorg a little bit, so that's always exciting to see and see an opportunity for change and then to be willing to do it. The boot decorating contest was a massive hit. I think we probably had 15 boots, maybe just 12, I can't remember.
I think it was 15 at least.
Yeah,
16,
quite a few
17 possibly.
boots that the community participated in. I was really happy to hear that. I had gone out 2 weeks prior to the fair and handed out little flyers to all the community businesses trying to get them involved. I would say maybe 25% of those booths were businesses, but the rest were probably just individuals. Regardless, we got lots of interaction. I think I heard a lot from people during the fair, and the comments around open classes is that they just need more reminders as it gets closer to the fair. People just aren't on their toes by that early July date. So we had talked about it before, and I think I'd be interested in proposing that we have like a later closing date just for the open class. I know it's a bit of a change and not necessarily easy, but I'm also happy to work with you, Jess, in getting things printed and really trying to take that off of your lap because I know you're busy with 4-H stuff too. So I do think it would be helpful in getting more.
I think another hard part of that is just having multiple different deadlines.
Yep.
You know, because like if a 4-H family mistakenly, and how fair entry is set up, I can't close one portion of the fair and keep the other fair open in the software program. It's all closed at one time. They go in there on July 7th at 8 a.m. and they try to do something. It's like, sorry, this fair is closed. So that's the only thing. And I think the only way to make 2 fairs is by probably purchasing another fair system through there. And that software is $500 a year.
Okay. I mean, I think it's worth looking into anyways. I do think it would help us, and I'd be more than happy to try and like even call people and say like, in the initial one is like, are you open class or are you fair? Like, I don't know the system, but I'd be willing to do some research with you or do it myself.
I could show you it one
report
time.
back.
One day when you have time, you come
Yeah,
in
I'm curious.
and I'll show
What
you it on
system
the
is
computer.
that you?
It's called Fair Entry.
Okay.
And so it's a hierarchy setup. So everything is under there under Broadwater County Fair.
Right.
And then the next hierarchy is 4-H indoor, 4-HB, 4-H Schwein, 4-H blah, 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 and then open class, blah, 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 blah. And so you enter all your dates and everything that you need depending on the hierarchy. So there's the whole fair hierarchy, and then there's the departments, and then there's the divisions, and then there's the classes.
Yeah.
And so that's how you set up like max number of entries, because some of our entries are allowed 5 things,
Yep.
and some are allowed only 2. Like the rabbits are only allowed 2 out of these, or 3 out of these classes of 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's 2 like per person, right? That's kind of the idea, but it's different depending on what it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, I know that it's a challenge. I know that, but I think if we want to see it continue to grow, I think we have to try and finagle something. Even if it's like at the end we sort out, you know, no 4-H. And I think 4-Hers are very smart and they're good leaders in the community to be able to see that there's different dates on that. And then if someone registers, and if not, then they need to learn, right? Like that's a learning opportunity. And we just like filter out. Maybe there's a grace year of 1 year or something, because I know it's a lot more work for you for that.
No, 4-H is a hard deadline. That is non-negotiable.
Okay.
If anybody would try to go in late at 4-H, it would be a hard no.
So then we just filter out those dates.
What if we kept the online at a set? Paper you can add
Oh, that's a good point.
That would be
later.
That would be
So maybe
more,
online is a hard, fast deadline. And then we have a paper date if they want to bring in the paper, because we can enter those manually. So maybe
can.
you give them an extra week for open class.
Yeah, because as like the people who have like the administrative capabilities to in fair entry can go and change anything at any point,
Right.
even like day of shows, you know.
Because we do it for horticulture. And I'm not suggesting that we do that. And I think there's, you know, I don't want to be thoughtful of time today, but I think there's just room for opportunity to grow. And it was a lot of feedback that they're just not thinking about it until right before. Is that right, wrong, or indifferent? I'm not weighing in on that. But
Well,
I want it to be successful.
We kind of live in a world of social media where everything's immediate, right?
Well, that's
So-
the thing. They're like, post on Facebook.
So
I'm
I
like, we
want
do.
to put this in today and it's due tomorrow kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
So my question to you would be, if we have paper entries, would that be an undue burden on you?
Well, it
and
actually
we don't really know that, so.
it would be more work, definitely, for sure.
Okay,
Because no matter when the closing date, it's still the same amount of work from whatever day it closes, whether it's 6 weeks in advance or 6 days in advance. It's the same amount of work that has to get done in those time. And you're just saying, like, instead of them having to go through the system and doing all the clicks and blah, blah, blah,
now you're doing it,
it's you.
right.
And I, again, would be more than happy to volunteer more of my time because I do think that would help us. And as the person, I'm happy to help
I mean,
you because I know you're swamped with so much. So
It won't be easy, I will say that for sure.
right. It changes.
That's
Even
great feedback,
so, I
though.
think that you would have to at least have your deadline at least 3 weeks before fair. So, I mean, right now it's like 6 or 7 weeks before fair.
Yeah.
I don't think 3 weeks is necessarily unreasonable. However, we need to balance
Yeah.
what everybody wants
I will get
with the work that you have
Yeah.
to do. So
I'll get with
So that's-
the superintendents and kind of see what we haven't had a recap since fair, and because I know there's also some things that we want to change, and like instead of 10 strawberries, can we only do 5 strawberries or something like that? So I know that there's a lot of things we would like to change for next year. So I'll get a good feedback from them on what they think, and then I'll bring it to the board. But at this point in time, I just know that that was something that we heard. And again, our numbers were down this year, so I was asking anyone and everyone, what do we have to do to get numbers up? What would cause you to, how do we get you involved and whatnot? I also mentioned, just an FYI, of being willing to, again, if able, I'd be more than happy to volunteer my time on Tuesday to say maybe the 4-Hers could maybe enter in things in both. That's from the county I came from, they did that. Say you entered in, you're making the muffins, you make 24 of them, you enter however many for the fair, they get contests judged, and then we would take them downstairs in our building, and then you would enter the other 4 or 6 into the open class. Again, just trying to, those are the people as a 4-Her. I was excited to get to the county fair as an adult to see how things went, and so I think that's a good feeder program for our general open class as well.
that's an interesting idea.
So, more to talk about, and we have a long time until then, but
If you want to like put together kind of your
yeah, I will. I think it's written in here somewhere. I will put it on in the computer and send it off.
perfect. Those are great ideas. Thanks. So we haven't heard from Val, so there's little point in talking about that. Have you heard anything from Lauren as far as the rodeo?
I haven't. I mean, besides what we, I guess, covered during our joint meeting in September,
It wasn't
which wasn't a terrible
significant.
lot,
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. Karen.
Fair went well. It really did.
Do you really want me to write that down?
It was a great week.
It couldn't be better. Sorry.
We didn't get much negative feedback, and so that means, that things went well. I mean,
Okay.
there are a few things that we'll change. A few ideas.
What are your thoughts about open class versus 4-H and this kind of sort of bringing them together a little bit? Do you have any thoughts on that yet? Or, I mean, it's kind of brand new in your head, but.
Putting items in both places, or
Yes.
Yeah. I go back and forth. I mean, they're getting rewarded in 4-H, so do you double pay the premium
for the same item.
for the
That's a
same
good
item? I don't know. I would like to see, a lot of their woodworking and stuff that they did one year, that they put in 4-H. And I guess if there's some really cool items, they could enter it the next year in open class. I don't know. I mean, but they've already received premium money on it.
But there's different judges.
There are. It would potentially help fill up the stands for sure. I mean,
Right. But at the same
and
time,
there is
that-
nothing that
And really,
says
they
that
can do that now.
They can.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can.
and at
The
the
only
same time, you're
difference
seeing the
is-
same things over
Is
and
if
over
we were
potentially.
there
so.
on Tuesday to accept those items, and they wouldn't have to come back Wednesday, which is a huge thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything on Tuesday Fair Week, so I'd be more than happy to volunteer my time.
So if they did, that would be something that.
And I mean, so like we said, it's something that's available to them right now. In the 4-H family, we do have some exhibitors that do multiple. So I think it would just be communicating more, reminding them that they can, and we do remind them that they can put stuff in open class. But having the drop off that day, the hard part is like the 4-H fair book is a completely different book than the open class fair book, and we don't want to muddle it down. Like we would never be able to put our open class classes into the 4-H fair book. They will have to remain 2 separate books.
I see it saying that way. I don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I do think this year we had a couple of kids ask if they could leave their open class items,
Yeah, and we did.
and we did. I mean, it worked fine. But
Mhm.
otherwise, they probably wouldn't have put them in because they're out of town. It's an hour in. Parents work. They've already taken off
Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday. and probably taking off Thursday, Friday, so.
Okay.
It's definitely something to remind the kids and maybe try it a year and see what kind of interest we have on Tuesday with them.
Yeah. Also, I did forget to say that we are thankful for our judges, but might be reviewing how we work with that in the future as well. A little bit of communication, probably on my part, failure to visit with the judges.
So it's communication, or they need to be vetted better?
I think it's
Would it
just
be a little
communication
each?
of expectations.
Expectations, okay.
So.
You need a fancy sign like Jess made us. That was for the kids, but it actually is nice for the judges too. It just kind of
Oh, like what the ribbons mean.
really what the ribbons mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and we're starting new fair year, or new 4-H year, October 1st, so we're all signing up again to go at it again.
Love it.
Right off the horse and right back on.
Yep.
Okay. I have nothing to say about public relations at this point, so let's go through the budget.
I don't have an update for our budget because I'm not able to get onto our software program over here. They updated some internet things, and Black Mountain isn't recognizing like our IP address or something. And
Was
so,
Ken working on that?
well, Bugsy had to come over and got some information and gave it to Debbie Kelly, who was supposed to be giving it to Black Mountain.
Okay.
But as of yesterday morning, when I tried to open it, it wouldn't open.
Okay. That's on Lindsay, I guess.
Technically, I probably could go over to like the courthouse somewhere and use somebody's computer and get into it, but
It needs worked out either way.
yes,
So.
yeah.
That's right. Yep, understood. Okay, so back to the MOU with the roping barn and mower. I think we've been through this a million times, so I don't really think
And
there's
this-
anything.
Yeah, there's no changes to this one since last year's.
I move that we sign on to the MOU for 2024.
I'll second.
Just in time for the year to end.
Yeah. Just redo it next year.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
you want to vote on it first, and then
So-
if you sign as the chairman, then I'll sign as the witness.
Okay. All in favor?
Oh,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
It was just they brought up possibly changing like the time of year that we do this.
Okay.
But I guess we'll see what the lease looks like and when they review leases and do their payment and stuff. So
I would be supportive of us just signing our MOU whenever they renew with the county. I think that makes most sense. I know that was discussed at the meeting.
What time of year were they thinking?
so usually we do these in April.
Okay.
And that's probably I don't know. I know, I guess. We don't really
I think
know.
April, whatever we normally did is fine.
I think
there
that they were interested in like January, February, like early year.
Mhm.
So
I don't think anything's going to change right now, and there are still a lot of discussions going on with legal over leases. So it shouldn't matter for the MOUs. Just need to get it
No, and-
signed.
And I think they're like they revote officers and stuff like in September. 'Cause they did it in September after the joint meeting. They had their regular meeting, and so I think just like this time of year right now is just not a good time of year, which I agree.
And maybe probably after the first, we're
Mhm.
really talking about a lawnmower
Yeah.
and what are you going to do with it in
Yeah,
November, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
okay. All right. All in favor of what's what I'm looking for? All in favor of accepting the memorandum of understanding?
aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. We'll accept this then. Do I need to sign both of these?
Yep. Yeah. One of them is for the use of the roping barn, and one of them is for the lawnmower.
Okay. Okay. So we talked a little bit about this prior, but we'll do it officially. Fair board member renewals, according to our bylaws, if Val is deciding that she wants to resign, there's not really anything in the bylaws that says that we need anything from her. It would be nice to know, so that she doesn't, show up to a meeting in 6 months and we're sitting there thinking to ourselves, why are you here? So,
I'll reach out to her and double check and see what she's feeling right now.
okay,
Just because I know the county's going to want to start advertising for new
Mhm.
board positions soon.
okay.
I know
And
there's,
if any of you guys know anybody who's interested, or if anybody on our board wants to take over vendors if she leaves, and then we would need to also know that, so that instead of looking for a new person, that will be sure, we can advertise it as an appropriate job.
Well, I'd be happy to take over the vendor duties, because that's, I don't really feel like I do anything right now, so I'd be perfectly happy to do that, unless somebody else is really jonesing to take over the vendors.
Is anybody else's term expiring, or is Val just,
She's
she's
the
just
only
not,
one.
because
She's
she's
the only
retiring?
one,
Okay.
yeah. I think
And hers is
Kaylee and I
actually
came in at the same
is
time, right?
Hers is expiring as
2
well?
years ago?
Okay.
no, I think I was before you.
Were you?
By a
Okay.
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Daleen will have all that,
Yeah,
we
I
have a
actually have no
spreadsheet
idea.
somewhere.
yeah.
If you want to send us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
I will
That's minutes.
okay.
say I am pretty happy with my role on the fair board, but I didn't know if I know that we have kind of specific roles, but then I think we talked about just like at large and everyone helping each other. I don't know. I don't remember what our bylaws say.
I do like the idea of at-large, where we kind of all help each other and learn each other's jobs, because, ultimately, if you're driving out there and, God forbid, get in a fiery car wreck, if someone has to do it for you, we don't honestly know each other's jobs, so
Right.
I like the idea of at-large, but
Our county admin officer, Bill, he calls it the hit by the bus concept.
Scenario, yeah.
The hit by the bus scenario.
Our bylaws do
Bill-
have it
Bill
broken
Jarocki.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, our bylaws do have it broken down, and I think the reason for that is because it is nice to make sure that there is like one contact person, like especially with vendors, because if vendors were emailing and calling like 5 different people, it would be a mess, and so it does help streamline it and organize it. But like Val knows, she keeps like a spreadsheet. She knows I have copies of everything, who has turned in contract, who's turned in their food license, who has paid, and I have all that in my binder. And so I guess that part's pretty easy to double check. But that is the hard part, because we do have vendors, even just with like 2 of us having our names on the letters, like some of them will mail their contracts to me and some mail to her, and some pay her, and then she's bringing the money over to me for me to deposit over there. And so even with 2, it gets a little, like I'm constantly making copies of everything I get. She makes copies of everything we get, and then we're like meeting together and be like, okay, this one, we have the contract, you got the payment, right? Have they been to the sanitarian yet? And so it does get a little confusing sometimes when they even send them to 2 different places.
okay. Well, like I said, I'm willing to take over the vendor duties
Cool.
if you all want me to. So I don't think that's a voting thing. I think it's just of a sort of a point, that's
Yeah.
you.
So when you reach out to Val, are you going to ask her then if she'd want to do the public relations? Or?
I'll ask her if she
Okay.
says, if she makes it sound like she just doesn't want to do vendors anymore, then I'll let her know that Sheila's willing to do it, and see if she wants to come on as more of a public relations type gal.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
Really, you do most of the public relations. So, the bottom line is that she would be sort of our 5th voting
yeah,
voice, is really what she'd be. And if that's all she wants to do, then we would appreciate her support. So, but I haven't heard from her, so, and
Yeah.
you haven't either, so I suspect that she's maybe just sort of done, but that's fine.
I think she wants my position, and she's told me that, and I was like, I like my position. We just have fun together, so she helps me regardless. She's so sweet and kind.
And that might be the at-large thing, where she
Yeah.
continues and she's just your assistant, or you're hers, or
Yeah.
whatever, or
Yeah.
you
There's your,
work
there's your
together, that kind of
idea.
thing.
You've got
Yep.
that one, the one floater, right? The
Yeah.
the
Yep.
large person that can help wherever.
She's public relations assisting open class. She's trying to help me get more people.
Trying to meld it into 4-H, that's
Yeah.
a whole other thing. Okay. Fairborn, okay. RMAF convention, I have mentioned to you that I'm willing to go.
Okay.
Is anybody else willing, wanting to, needing
I-
to, desperate for it?
I can't make those dates work this year. So.
Okay.
Go ahead, because, yeah, we potentially will be busy, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll cross our fingers and hope that we sure are. But
It's in Sioux Falls. No, where's it at?
Rapid City.
Rapid
Rapid
City.
City. That'll
Yeah.
be fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Enjoy it.
What is it? The RMAO?
It's the Rocky Mountain Association of Fairs. They do an annual convention. Taylor went to it last year in Coeur d'Alene. The year before it was in Salt Lake. The year before it was in Billings. This year a little bit further away in Rapid City. But,
And what do we decide on that as far as cost?
so that's what
Is the
I
idea
have
is
the-
flying or
I have
driving or?
the registration sheet. So we do save like $25 if you register by October 18th.
Okay,
And then I also printed off a schedule, preliminary schedule for you.
okay,
So we have to kind of work out the dates because they do have like a hotel that's available for $74 per night for the convention fee. I looked quickly at Expedia yesterday and I found like the cheapest round trip flight was like $358. And then I also looked at the drive time, 522 miles one way. So it's like, even if you did that and got mileage, flights are probably a little bit cheaper. We
And safer.
do budget, so we budget for the convention itself. We budget $250, and I think the full, if you register by the 18th, it's $275 this year.
okay.
We do budget hotel for Rocky Mountain Association Fairs convention of $500, and we have a miscellaneous travel lodging budget of $300.
And it's the 13th through,
It's
so basically it's 2
November 13th
nights.
through 15th, and Wednesday starts at, the first workshop started at 11 a.m. on Wednesday.
Okay.
But, you know, if you didn't want to do Wednesday, if you wanted to fly in on Wednesday and then just attend Thursday, Friday, there's also a price for, like day registrations that are a little bit cheaper. And even on Friday, you can look at the schedule and see, like, if you want to fly out on Friday. I think that's what I did when we went to Salt Lake. I actually, like, I didn't go to the dinner that night, and I flew out that evening instead of going to the dinner and staying in the hotel again.
Yeah, I need a cash bar open, like, I need another hole in my head, so. So no, I would probably leave that Friday afternoon.
So I guess if
but-
you want to do that, then you can look at the schedule and look at your personal schedule and see when
Okay,
and how many nights you want to
So
go
are-
and how many days you want to attend.
is this mine? Or-
Yes.
Okay,
Yep. And then you can take a copy of this. Once you know what you want to do, I'll fill this out and send it in. But
budget is 500 for, is that what you said, 500 for travel? I'm sorry.
300 for travel.
hotel is 500, and then we have like a miscellaneous travel lodging budget of 300. We've had to use that before. They did like a spring workshop a couple years ago that I used that for.
Okay,
Um,
and then to travel out there is 275, you think, something like that?
for the flight,
Yeah.
the cheapest one I could find was like 360.
And what are we budgeted for on that?
Well,
Ish.
probably part of the hotel fees,
Okay,
which would be the 500, and 74 a night is really cheap.
and I guess
You could get your hotel plus your flight almost for the
mileage, if I
500.
drove like a state car out there, it'd be like 32 cents a mile, or, well, a state car would be just gas, right?
If we drove a county car, can Sheila drive a county car?
I don't know for this. I don't know if that would be.
It would have to, I think it'd be a personal car and then it'd be a reimbursement of 67 cents a mile.
Well, here's the thing, I work for the state, so
The
I can
state's
already
not
drive
gonna-
a
the
state
state's not going to
vehicle,
let you
so
take a
I'm,
state vehicle, though, are they?
what's that?
The state wouldn't let you take a state vehicle for that.
They wouldn't let me take a state vehicle, I'd have to take a county vehicle, but they come out of the same pool of money, kind of, so we'd have to, like, discover that. If I could take a county vehicle out there, then
Yeah,
it
no,
would-
the county vehicles, we pay for those. Those aren't.
Yeah,
and
they
they're
belong
not.
to the
Yeah,
county.
they're,
Okay.
those are
So,
totally
like, if I
separate.
was to take a county vehicle, I would just use like the county card for gassing it up, and then I wouldn't get any mileage reimbursement.
Right.
But if I took my personal vehicle, I would get 67 cents per mile reimbursed
Okay.
from the
I
county.
mean, I can ask Sheila.
And the county
and
can
see.
do that even for a non-employee if they're going on.
See, I don't think so. Cause
With,
not,
with the
because you're not-
state, if I take my own car, like to Helena, for a meeting or whatever, I don't get that full thing. I get 31 cents a mile. I get half of basically what it is.
Right.
So I wonder if since I'm a state employee, I wonder if that would translate to the county in
No.
some way that
Mm-mm.
they would be able to
No.
work that out.
It won't. It's totally separate. Sorry.
Yeah, there's no way the state's gonna allow me to do that.
No.
So
I mean, I
that's
could-
why it would probably be to do a flight.
Yeah,
Like the fair
I feel like the
public.
flight would be easier. It would probably be like
And-
I could. I
and-
could
Yeah, it's
ask.
522 miles. So
Much
it's like an
cheaper
8-hour
than
drive.
62 cents a mile, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I just don't because you're not a county employee. I don't think they would let you take the
10
county
from here?
car for it.
Okay.
You see what I'm
I
saying?
googled from here to Rapid City.
And it was only
7 hours 52.
okay.
Which is, what I'm trying to work out is my husband's got family near there. And so we're trying to figure out if we go out there and visit them, then we can take our own vehicle and then
Oh, I see.
it won't be on the
Right.
county budget at all. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm kind of trying to figure out. So, okay. So I kind of have our budget and we'll try to figure that out from there.
Do we need a motion to send her? I move to send Sheila to the RMFA in Rapid City in support of however she chooses to get there, knowing she'll pick the most economical way.
Yeah.
Mostly because I'm a cheapskate, so
Yeah,
yes.
me too.
It'd be like $700. You said 522 miles.
Yeah, it would,
It'd be like $700
it would be
round
extremely
trip.
expensive
Yeah.
for mileage.
Yeah, so
So.
2 plane tickets are actually cheaper than driving.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, second.
All in favor of sending me to RMAFF?
Hi.
All opposed? All right.
And I will say, I think it is good for other people to go to it. The first time I went to it, I came back and I was like, I wish our whole board could go. Because when you go there, you actually feel really bad because there's like groups of like 10 people. They got their fair manager, they got all of their fair board members, they got a commissioner coming, and you're like, that looks like so much fun. And you're like, wow, so you try to find a dinner table with, you guys have one spot open? Thank you. I'll stay.
If she does decide to drive, because her, you know, I mean, if you do make a family,
Yeah, if we're able to make a
I guess-
family trip out of it.
do you guys see a problem with, as far as like what a flight would cost, giving her that money to
I
go
was
towards
just gonna ask
gas
that same
or,
thing.
you know, I mean, I
Yeah,
mean, if the
same.
flight was $358, I mean, you're gonna have the expense no matter what. So whether if you want to drive with your husband and take the whole week, you know, I mean,
Well, I would say if you have a certain amount budgeted, right, for this purpose,
Mhm.
if you want to drive your own car out, sure, drive your own car out. This is what we're capped at for reimbursement. Is kind of where
Yeah,
I would.
I'd be okay
Yeah.
with that, but it's not terribly important to me. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to the experience. So
Yeah.
the cost
yeah.
is not that important.
I'm just saying,
However,
like, in case you guys need to make a motion as a board for something like, hey, we will reimburse up to this amount or whatever, or we'll reimburse this amount, travel expenses regardless of what whether you choose to fly or drive or whatever.
So we could say like, we will pay for the convention, the 2 or 3 nights in the hotel,
yeah, I'd
Wednesday,
say
Thursday,
probably-
Friday, 3 nights. And like $400 towards traveling expenses to be used however you want to. If you want to use it to put the gas in your tank, you can, or if you want to use it to book a flight, you can.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking.
So moved, amended.
I can't make motions though.
You was.
No,
She
no,
just
our
amended
first-
hers.
our first
She just
motion
amended the
was
whole
just
darn
to
thing,
send-
so.
So
At all.
our first motion was just to send her, so I think we can make
so
another
then-
one with the specifics on what we want to.
So hotel would be 500, miscellaneous is 300, flight is of roughly 360. So, I mean, honestly, if we're gonna go out and spend time with family, I would say maybe what would be reasonable would just be like the flight of like $300. I think that would be reasonable and fair, considering that I want to do this and I want the
But
experience.
we should
and-
also pay for your hotel though. Because if you're going to go out there visit family, you might not be choosing this hotel to stay at. You could be choosing others.
We might be choosing a hotel far, far away from my family. We'll see.
Okay, I move that we
Let's cap it at something.
cap
Let's cap it at something reasonable.
our travel to send Sheila expenses at $400 for travel, the $275 that it costs to register, and a hotel of $250. And if she decides not to use it, then that's her choice.
So we're looking at 6.
Does that sound right?
859,
$925.
925? Okay.
What was the registration cost you said? 275?
$275.
Personally, I think that's excessive, but
Well, then don't
That's
spend it all.
that's up to you guys. No, I have no intention
There you
of
go.
spending
There you
it
go. You
all.
don't have to
Yep.
spend it.
That's, I think, I went last year and I just had you guys pay for the registration
Mhm.
and my company paid for my travel and for my,
Right, because you were
because it was a work trip as well.
there anyway. Yep.
Yeah, so
Yep.
there you have it.
Okay.
I'm like, sounds good.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. So we're looking at 925 has been confirmed by the board
Mhm.
for my travel and hotel expenses and
All the
registration and everything else.
So I will get this registration filled out and sent in.
Okay.
And then, do you want me to go ahead and book the 3 nights on this for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for the hotel?
You know what, you can absolutely go ahead and book that because you know who they are and that kind of thing. If we decide to stay with family, then we can cancel that. There's probably a 24-hour
Okay.
cancellation thing,
I
so.
believe that, yep.
Yep,
Okay, so I'll book
okay.
the hotel in your name.
And what hotel is that at? I
It's,
don't think it says.
it's this Best Western Ramkota Hotel, which is the place the convention is
Here we go.
at. So that's a nice thing too, is once you're there, you don't, I mean, you guys are gonna have your own vehicle, but it is nice to stay at the actual convention.
I agree. It's always better to stay at the convention hotel.
So I'll book the hotel and register for the convention, and then I'll have to figure out how we
Yeah.
pay the travel expenses.
Definitely register now. I would
Oh.
assume it would be just a,
Do I just like put in a claim for a check?
put in a claim.
Probably,
Okay.
because if you, the board has voted on that, it was in your budget anyway. It was
Mhm.
already there and
Okay.
earmarked for, for this particular item and approved for that, then yeah.
And
would
I
say-
think that's what this is a travel claim, right? So,
Mhm. So, I'll get that claim submitted also, because it usually takes a few weeks for turnaround for claims, so then should be able to get to you before you leave.
well, I expect to put everything on my credit card and just get reimbursed in,
Okay.
the future. That's usually the way I travel, so that's
Save,
fine.
if that's what you're doing, just to keep it organized, make sure you save all your receipts and,
Yeah.
as you would, I'm sure, but I'm just saying that.
I
Say,
traveled,
okay, Mom, yeah.
I traveled every month for the Navy for like 14
Yeah,
years,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
I am a receipt hound.
Yes.
If you dug around in my spare bedroom, you'd find receipts.
Oh,
like,
no,
what is this from
that's-
2010? So So
I'm married
yeah.
to somebody who's traveled for the past 25 years for work, so we have receipts everywhere.
Yep. Receipts that you don't even need anymore. So, okay. All right. I'm looking forward to it. So
You'll have fun.
I'll try.
Oh, you don't have to try.
Is there bail money? No. All
We
right.
didn't budget for that
Yeah.
this year.
Just kidding. Anybody who's watching. So the 2024 fair review, setup, takedown, and entertainment. Should we just kind of go through that all together? I think we kind of have discussed that before, but if there's anything else that you think needed more help, needed
Can you
less
think
help.
of any things that came up during setup, takedown, or entertainment stuff?
I finally found my notes, and it says to tie the bottom of the logo signs that we have. I know they're flipping. I don't think it would be. I think they already. Some of them have the grommets. If not, we can get them put in. I just think it would save us.
Yeah, and I
It
think
would
the
look
maintenance
nicer.
guys were looking at that and
Cool.
talking about that for next year too. Because they had to go back out there and fix a few.
Agreed.
A
And every
couple
time the
times.
wind comes up, they
Yeah.
fold up and, yep.
Mhm.
I will say also for my area, I'm just running through my notes. Our main display kind of didn't look towards the main door, so I'm going to work on that. I'm also going to work on the best of show sign. We're going to redo that for next year to make that a little bit cleaner cut. Oh, we talked about postcards, sending out postcards. Maybe as an item. I don't know how much that would cost us into the county, but back to trying to get people involved. We talked about postcards.
Who would we send those postcards to? To former,
It's
Are we
former
thinking like the
people
countywide,
and the countywide, yeah.
like a countywide mailer
Like
type
a-
deal?
Yeah.
to resident?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to look at or ask the post office what the cost of that is.
And I think there's something like with the county, you might get a discount or something. I shouldn't say that. I don't know that for sure, but something around that.
Okay.
Also, we didn't have saddles this year, but they would prefer to keep them inside if able, so we'll we left a spot for them, but the pie contest was still a hit. Oh, I think really people really like the PTA fair. It seemed to be good. I felt that the concert turnout was fair. Wasn't great, but there were a lot of people that came just for the concert, so I feel like that's kind of a win. And it seemed that the vendors went well, so I'd be curious to know what other people think. I will say, I heard from a lot of people that they really want rides. I know that we're just small. I understand that. I don't know.
Like
Fair
carnival
rides.
rides? Fair
Mhm.
rides.
Yeah.
Does
I-
that cost just a ridiculous amount of money to bring in a?
That and the space.
The
Yeah,
space is our
space.
problem.
Where
We-
you put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, without hosing the parking and the camping and
Mm-hmm.
everything else.
Because I mean, like when I was little, yeah, the fair had that, but
Lease the city ground. I don't know, not
Yeah.
even lease, but just could we put on,
I said
something-
I
well,
would
and
pass it
eventually
on.
we're going to be losing that pivot corner
yeah, for the
to
water
a
tower.
water tower. So we'll be even more cramped on spacing.
I'm trying to remember. So the county owns like the fairgrounds, but the city owns that field
That
to the
field
east of it,
between
correct?
Yeah.
the fairgrounds and the blinking light and
Yeah.
284 highway, yeah.
And then you have airport stuff.
And the
which
airport's on the other
which
side. There-
complicates height of
Right. There's no way
things.
you can put anything there without.
Yeah, I don't know how far. I don't know what that area is. Daryl would know, but
Gee, I would love that. I think that
I
would
mean,
be
it's
awesome.
just, I told everyone that I
But-
talked to that I would take it back. I know that it's not easy, but I'm voicing it here that people would like to
Yeah,
see
it's
rides.
definitely something.
And I know that even just
Something to
like
look
from
at.
my experience that like it's really hard. The ride companies are just slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. There's not very many of them, and then they don't have enough staff
Yeah.
to split them up.
And you have to like kind of
So
get on them when they're like coming through.
yeah, so and I've explained that to people that it's not as easy as just getting the rides, but again, I think it's worth
And
looking
really,
into.
what I've gathered from like the RMAF conventions is carnivals aren't super expensive to because they mostly just they do their own thing. They sell their own tickets. They set up their own stuff.
Right.
So that's how they get paid.
They make their money
You
that
might
way,
get like
yeah.
I think they might give you like a percentage of their sales
Oh.
for having them there.
You just basically book them in.
Mhm.
Okay. You're
And so
not
like,
paying
I
them to
don't,
come.
cost isn't what prohibits us from doing it,
It's space.
space.
I also did hear that Casey has a bouncy house that she'd be willing to donate next year for use, or we can book her or whatever. And then also talking about a hay maze that we would be committed to putting a hay maze together with like just little round, square bales. I don't know. She told me to share, so.
I know, I was thinking the same thing. Oy. It's a lot of hate.
I think I'm busy that day. No.
Shoot.
Anyways, that's my notes. Sorry, I just had that. So I wanted
The one thing I'd like to talk about is we talked about last year, but late, was getting like a magician or something like that for entertainment. And I feel like if that's the way we want to go this year, we probably should start like now and
Tell
get
them at the
booked.
fair. Yeah. I mean, I would be supportive of saying, like, how much do we have to spend?
Because
and then
I felt like
booking
we
them while
had-
you're there,
Well,
like-
you found one that was $2,000 or something, but then we had to book them for multiple nights. Then that
Yeah,
kind of
it's
thing.
just- And there were people who wanted to come, but they had already had other things booked. And so that wasn't the unfortunate part. This guy
Right.
really loves Montana. The Mesmer. I don't know. I have his contact
So-
information, but
Right now, what we budget for entertainment under the tent, $400. Bounce house is 1,000, and miscellaneous entertainment 500. Concert 4,000. That's like our budget.
so did we?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I think if we're gonna do something like the magician or something, then we just scrap the concert for, like, that is our.
That's your
you know,
Wednesday night
to
show
mix
or
it up a
Thursday
bit,
night
because I
show.
don't feel right now that
We
the
could do
concert
both.
is pulling in enough to justify it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a
So
lot of
maybe
work.
we do
So-
a different avenue where
Yeah,
it's a
if we were-
magician and
If we could have
That
somebody
might get
that
some
would come
kids.
and
just adults.
I love
set
that
up
idea.
outside. That's the thing too, is they would have to be willing to
Kid,
set up outside and have to be in a building.
I think most of them would probably do that. My question is, can we charge that for that? Not that I'm just curious. Like, if we hire this magician for whatever it costs, can we then
If we did a
charge
Wednesday night
tickets?
show,
Yeah.
we could do ticketing. If we do a show when the grounds are already open and people are already there, that's when it gets tough.
But we did that this year. Did our budget suffer that much? Because really,
From the concert Thursday.
we didn't really charge for that. Did our budget really suffer that much?
No, because
It was cheap.
honestly, what we get in our sponsors usually covers the concert.
Okay.
So we don't usually have to tap into what we set aside. We just set it aside just in case we don't get the sponsorships for whatever reason or anything like that. I believe our sponsorships covered our concert fees.
Okay.
We just don't recover, any of it. And when we have Wednesday night concerts, we can at least recover a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But
I have a,
But as compared to last year when we had the big concert, we struggled to get tickets, and then there was a technology to have people get tickets online and that kind of thing, and there were still people that refused to do that, and they just want to, buy their tickets when they get there kind of
Yeah.
thing. And I wonder if maybe a show that we don't charge for, but that brings people to the fair is maybe the better way to go, rather
Like-
than something that we have to struggle to try to get tickets for, and then we don't really make
Yeah.
any money off
And
of
not
that
use it
anyway.
as an-
So
Lindsay's about to leave, so I have one quick question. With the county budget, back to the budget, how you're talking, if we don't use it, do we lose it?
yes, now we do.
I say we start.
I like that look. She's like, oh, put that. I just got daggers. It's not really like that though. I mean, I think what Bill is looking at when we sit down and do quarterly budget meetings and we're looking at this, it's not so much you don't use it, you lose it, because I think that was the mentality years ago. And it was like, you're done. I think it's, here's what's changed. This is why we need to keep this in our budget. And I think if that is explained, it will be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
'Cause that's my question,
Does
is it-
that make sense? Like, yeah, okay.
So does it still,
So the past few years, anything that we have that we didn't use, a percentage of it got sent into our CIP, like a savings account.
But not all of it.
But not all of it.
And we're looking at the whole, we're reevaluating CIP and capital projects, just the whole policy around that, because there's a lot of CIP. Yeah, so there's
Capital
there's
improvement.
yeah, capital improvement. Thank you. There's a lot of departments that don't necessarily have capital improvement projects, right? Like you take the sheriff's office, they've got cars they have to replace. There's, same with solid waste. They've got trucks, they've got vehicles, all these different things that need replaced. So we're just looking at that. But again, I think if you sit down with Bill, and we have these quarterly budget meetings, and
We tell them we didn't use it this year,
but here's
this is
why, and this, I mean,
And
it
then-
makes sense.
And every 10 years we get an Adam Doliak, or every 10 years we get.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, is if we can save and be smart and manage the county's money and our sponsors' money, because I would hate for us to be asking for all these sponsorships if their money's just going to the county. I don't
And
want-
it's not. It's
Right.
going to your
But
money.
capital improvement is literally that. So
Capital
improvement of the
improvement
fairgrounds
is-
and that kind of thing.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So there is. I mean, like in this case, yes, there's
So,
capital
so we
improvement
would,
needed.
we would have
Yeah.
to prove that what we're asking from the county is a capital improvement, even if it is just entertainment. It's a capital improvement
No,
of
no.
the fairgrounds.
At the end of the year, we're asking them, hey,
Yeah.
don't take this money from us and give it to someone else. We want it to go into our CIP because
Yes.
2 years from now, we want to put a covering over the
exactly,
entertainment.
so we
Right.
don't have
Okay,
to put
so
up a
it's-
tent.
So we don't have to put up a tent.
So
Yeah,
we
there's
have
a
project,
plan.
and so,
Yeah.
So
we're
it's
being
absolutely
frugal
capital
and being
improvement.
very
We can't
careful with our budget because
work
we
those
want to
numbers
use
at all.
it for this.
Well, it just depends. We got to just sit down with Bill. That's why we're having quarterly budget meetings, which I
Hmm.
think is really important, because then we can sit down and say, here's what's happening this year. Here's why. This is
Yeah.
what we've seen. But in this case, like for this board and for the fair, it ebbs and flows. And annually, like there's been some,
We're
after a
definitely-
few years, we're like, we need to do something different.
We're a different
So,
department than
yeah.
the rest of the county.
Yeah.
Like there's not only, the treasurer's office doesn't go and ask for sponsors for anything, and so
Right.
we do go and have some revenue resources that we want to use in certain ways.
Do you think, Lindsay, it would be informative to us to bring Bill to like our next meeting and explain what we can and cannot sort of reserve for the future? Do you think that would be important for us to know?
No, because yes and no at the same time. Because I think anything we do, we're going to have, you'll have to pay Bill to be here. Because, that'd be like paying him after hours, you know what I mean, to be here and to stay after hours, whatnot. And he's not often here on Thursdays. But I think, again, we have quarterly budget meetings, so we can.
So I can talk with him.
So it would be more important for us to go to him.
I think, well, and I'm, the commissioners would take part in those too. So
Right.
like as like the Fair Board and Extension Liaison for the commission, I sit in on those budget meetings. So like I would be there if you wanted to come and get the information and then you can explain it to everybody. Yes, I think that would be,
Okay.
do you see what I'm saying? That would
Yep.
be probably a better option than having Bill come.
When are
Extra
those,
time.
when's your next quarterly budget meeting?
Oh, it's coming up.
I'll have to look. I
First
think
quarter.
It's like beginning of October.
Yeah. No, it is the beginning of October.
Well then,
That ship has sailed, my friend.
maybe it's the end of
So-
October.
Jess,
Okay.
if we'll look, I'll look
It's
tomorrow.
probably on your
let
website.
Sheila know
Okay.
and see what
No,
we
it's
can make.
not. It's like not on the websites because it's just like
Mm-mm.
departmentalized meetings.
And it's only one commissioner. It's not like a noticed. It's only
It's
one.
not even noticed or anything.
No, because there's only one commissioner. It doesn't need to be noticed. But
Okay.
I have it. I have it on my calendar.
Yeah, I'm sure I have it right now.
Okay. I do have to go. I'm sorry, you guys.
No, you're
Thanks
fine.
for answering the
No,
question.
Thank you.
we are wrapping down.
No, I
Rec-
think that's a great.
I think it is smart to look into other options on using our
Yeah.
entertainment budget.
And I think that brings a good question for that budget meeting to say, hey, here's the situation with Fair Board. How do we know, like, how much should we be saving for the CIP versus, kind of keeping more in like savings reserve to do something like you're saying, like in 10 years we have a bigger event, but
Yeah.
we can't afford to do that kind of event
No.
every year. Just planning. And then,
Yeah.
like you said, sponsorships, and it's just a different, each department, each board has very different and unique needs. So I think
just
Well,
discussion.
the line of work I'm in is, we consider it reserves for replacement, when you
Yeah.
have to replace your roof or whatever, and so that's,
Yeah.
but I wonder how much flexibility we have in that. And
Yeah.
I know he's a budget hound, so.
He is a
that's-
budget hound. You are correct.
Thanks,
That's
Lindsay.
good. Okay,
Thank you guys.
Thank you,
See
appreciate
later.
it.
Yeah.
Good luck. Go volleyball team.
all right, let's get to the rental updates, and then we'll,
So October is actually really busy. There's a wedding in the building and under the pavilion this weekend. There's a pest management seminar workshop thing next Wednesday. And then there's a surprise birthday party the next weekend, and at the end of the month there's a Halloween party. November slows down. December so far we have Greymont is out there for Christmas party. We're already booked next year for graduation weekend, 4th of July week, and Labor Day weekend.
That's good. Would you say the workload is still appropriate for you, or how's it going?
It's going pretty good, I think, so far. There's just sometimes when things are back to back, it's tough. Like there's actually, the school's out there tonight for doing a dinner, and so I went out today and stocked and got everything ready for the wedding people, and then the people who are doing the dinner tonight are in charge of making sure things are very clean. So. No, and we did change my hours with the new budget cycle, so now I am 12 hours for fair and 28 for extension. So
Perfect.
it used to be 10.
10 and
correct?
30.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll see how that goes. And
Is that fair? I mean, do you think that's fair, or do you spend more time with fair stuff than you do with
it just depends
extension?
on the time of year. I mean,
Mhm.
there could be some weeks when I could spend 16 hours on fair stuff, and then there's other weeks when I spend 0 hours on fair. So it's
Okay,
because it's really hard to.
but it's a salary, so
Mhm.
you get paid for that 12 hours no matter what, so
Yeah.
it kind of works
And
out in the
it's
end.
really hard to separate them.
Sure.
Like I don't sit there at my computer and go, okay, I'm only going to look at my extension emails for 4 hours, and then I'll look at my fair emails for the next 3.
Okay.
And so, I just, as things come in, it's just bouncing back and forth. So it is hard to separate them, but we're going to kind of see after this next full year of rentals and stuff. So,
Okay.
Perfect.
Other comments? Karen said nothing this entire meeting, so I'm going to make her tell me her resume or something.
as far as, I guess, next meeting date, November 14th is during the convention. And so I don't know if you guys want to go ahead and just scratch that right now. And I did look, the meeting room is available the next Thursday, the 21st, if we want to go to that.
I have a board meeting that day, and
You
I'm
do?
gone the
Okay.
14th. Yeah, sorry.
On the 14th or the 21st?
Both. I have a board meeting on the 21st and the 14th. I'm gone.
So the 14th definitely isn't going to work.
Mm,
Could we do? Are Tuesdays bad? I forget.
The
Till more.
The 19th.
Tuesdays are hard for the meeting room.
Okay.
There's a lot of recurring county meetings that are Tuesday nights.
well, we've had some luck on Mondays. So do we want to shoot for the Monday, either prior to the 14th or after the 14th, on the 11th or 18th?
I would say the 18th or the 11th. It doesn't matter. Sorry.
The 18th is really hard for me. I have kind of 2 other things that have to be at that same night.
Okay.
The 11th.
11th is Veterans Day.
Do you?
We
have
could
the day
do
off?
it. It's a county holiday.
It's a county holiday.
Oh, I did it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Honestly, we could just push it to December and not have a meeting in November.
go with December 12th is our December meeting date.
How does that look for you
Would
guys?
be fine. Are we open on the 12th?
I don't have the basketball schedule in my phone yet.
They're typically Friday, Saturday.
But I
So
think
we're
that most of
probably-
them are Fridays, Saturdays this year.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm good for the 12th.
So, okay.
And do you like 5:15, 5:30, what,
Yes. 5:15.
5:15?
Great.
Okay.
I like it because it's just
Me too.
easy to just
Then I
sit
have
here.
somewhat of a night. Yeah.
Exactly, and I think that most of us are we're sort of done with our day by 5:15, and it's nice to get it over with so we can go home and be with our families, so. 15. Okay,
Give me the word, are you ready?
let's go ahead and adjourn.